I am buying millions of dollars worth of XRP again. And I'll tell you truthfully, I think it's becoming a bit of an addiction. I think it's becoming a bit like that gold rush back in the freaking West, where once you see a little glimpse of something, you just want to exploit the living crap out of it. And I've realized, well, I've got a ton of XRP. What if I just keep depositing more and make my XRP act as more? If I do it within safe margins, I can easily increase my positions by quite a bit, right? So what I decided to do today is deposit $1 million worth of XRP. And I'm going to try out some strategies to hopefully make this a significant amount more over the next few weeks and days. So as you can see, I put a little bit over into Bybit where we already have a juicy amounts of trades open. But I realized there's a couple more interesting things I could do. And the one specific thing I've got in mind right here is actually opening an inverse XRP perpetual trade. So what this does, if I, for example, open up a 100,000 XRP trade here with just a little bit of leverage, you can see I've got about 150,000 XRP here to spend. I've just been thinking about it. If I were to open up a 100,000 XRP trade right here, it would cost me about 10,000 XRP to go for. And theoretically speaking, if I were to have 100,000 XP before, I can kind of get rid of 90,000 XRP, right? Because, well, the position is still basically itself. I'm not going to do that, but by that logic, I can pretty easily up the stakes by a little bit. If I, for example, had 100,000 XRP, I could increase it to 120,000. Or if I had 150,000 XRP like right now, I could increase it to, let's say, for example, 170,000, so just a 10% increase or so. Because by that logic, if I'm using my capital with only very, very minimal margin, still I'm getting myself 20,000 XRP for free by doing it this way. Now, I don't think that that's enough, like 10% or so doesn't really make a lot of sense, but on the contrary, if I still got dollars in my account anyway, theoretically speaking, what I could do here is actually quite fun. If I keep doing this for different coins that I'm still holding in my stash anyway, because of the way it's set up, I can theoretically speaking just buy a significant amount more as the dollars I've always got in my account, as different coins I've got in my account will act as collateral. Regardless, I just want to quickly show, I'll just open up a 10,000 XP position here to prove my point. Let's not misclick this. So just here, for example, at this price, theoretically speaking, it doesn't really matter. I just want to showcase you how it's going to work. So here we go. Let's give it a little second. We open up our order. I guess the price was slightly off. Let's give it a second to come on in. So there we go. It just took a little bit of a second. I slightly increased my price. But as you can see, now in this instance, we put 1,000 XRP in, right? It's acting as 10,000 XRP, about $30,000 worth. And you can see the unrealized P&L is now going to be in XRP terms. So my goal is just deposit a lot of XRP I've got sitting around anyway and make it act as more. Now, the downside is if the market does go down, this is also not going to be a lot of fun, which is why to start off, I'm going to leverage everything at a very, very low basis. But as I said before, I've got a lot of XRP to work with, so I think it's nice to just get some things started. I also deposited a couple $100,000 worth of Solana. You guys may think, Dusty, what's going on? Well, I just saw the freaking light, I guess. But I'll talk about that in a... Oh, I'm seeing I'm lagging a little bit. Now, before I move on, I want to quickly say, I'm buying a lot of positions today, right? I'm putting another couple $1 million into the freaking machine. If you also want to join one of these platforms or you're wondering where exactly am I trading on, first of all, make sure you press that like button. Why not? Second of all, check out the links down below. The platform I'm using is linked right there. You can claim a nice bonus for just signing up. Why not? It's completely free anyway. And I'm covering this every single day. My goal, like I said, is to basically stack these accounts times 10. I have a 10K to $1 million challenge going on. Sure, that's cool and all. It's a 100x. For the most part, all the money I'm putting in right now, I want to 10x multiply over the next few months. And I'm documenting my journey with that or about that right here on the channel every single day. So if you're interested in more and you're wondering, hey, how's your money doing? Just keep checking back in because I'll update every single day. If I'm losing money, you'll see it. If I'm winning money, you'll see it. Just keep coming back in. And hopefully we'll get to the top together. Regardless, one thing I want to do as well is open up XRP coin margin bots over on Pionex. So you might have already seen me open it up with some XRP. Let me quickly go to the right bots right here. I think I opened it with a little bit of XRP before. Let's quickly scroll through. Yes, I put about 12,500 XRP in, but well, I I added a bit of XRP, also 100,000 XRP to my account here to just basically try and buy that dip piece by piece. I don't have to add everything today. Here, for example, we just add another $50,000 to the bot right here because the nice thing is, first of all, I'm lowering the little loss that it was in. Sure, the grid profits now look like it's significantly less, but over time, I seriously think that this is going to be one of the best things I can do because think about it, right? It already was able to cash at about 1,000 XRP based on the fact it had 5,000 XRP inside. Now that there's 30,000 XRP inside, well, because it's acting as if it's more, right now you can see it's about 60,000 XRP long. It's about a true leverage of 2x, with it being more if the price goes down lower. I have to keep in mind, I have to keep some XRP for adding as margin. You can see here, even if I add 80,000 XRP, because in reality, this can be times 5, so roughly about 150,000 XRP long, right? Right now it's only 60, but it could be 150,000. I still have to keep some XRP or dollars that I potentially flip to XRP if push comes to shove, which theoretically speaking is the better idea, to add as margin in case the market does go down. Since let's say I had a stash of, you pick a number, 100,000 XRP, for example. I've put 30,000 in the bot as an example. Keep the rest as margin, so 70,000 here, for example, right? In case the market does move down. 160, I think, is quite fair. Or, like I told you guys 1,000 times before, what I could do is sell off the additional XRP. Again, I had 30,000 XRP. Let's say I had 100,000 XRP, right? I make sure that this bot is acting as if it's about 100,000 XRP. In this case, it would only cost about 40,000 XRP to get to that level, let's say. Then I sell the rest of it off, which again, I could put back into margin. And especially if you're sitting closer towards the bottom of your range, you make the range wider or you use slightly lower leverage, it's quite easy to maintain and generating me a lot of extra coins over time. Because again, the goal being, if we take a look at transactions, the goal is to every single time just make a little bit of XRP on every single one of these flips. Every single time I want to get some more and some more and some more XRP. Makes about 100 transactions a day. But now I think it's going to make significantly more than it was doing before because, well, we added some good amount of XRP to the stash. But that's basically my goal right here. And again, you may say, Dusty, but you can do that. You've got tons of XRP. The thing is, I could have theoretically speaking done this with very little amounts, right? But actually, the only way I'm thinking about it is I'm opening up more capital that I had stuck in XRP before by using these coin margin strategies. And I'll talk later in another video about what exactly I'm doing over on 𝗏𝗏, because there I'm actually selling some XRP to buy it back in position form, meaning I already have my $1 million XRP trade here, right? And I thought about it. If I, for example, deposit, which I did now here, but let's say I deposit a couple $100,000 worth of XRP again, let's say $300,000. I could actually just, take $270,000 of that, sell it off, and put 30,000 times 10 in the position right here, giving me $270,000 worth of free capital while the rest stays in the bot. I've been thinking about doing that more and more and more because why not? It's nice to have some free capital. Sure, you're paying some funding on it, but relatively, sometimes it can be quite beneficial to just have more in dollar terms to, play around with multiple different positions than having it stuck in a coin doing nothing. However, this is nice and all if the market moves up. If the market moves down, you're not going to love it, which is why I don't over leverage. I don't do anything too crazy, and why, for the most part, I'm going to be sticking to these bot strategies still. And even there, I could theoretically speak and just go more for my main bot stack. For example, add to the XRP main bot here, instead of only buying it core margined. But I realized that if I got a good stack, I might as well put a small portion of XRP inside because I do not really see the downside. Again, the downside is you're double down if the market dips really, really hard, meaning, because you're doing core margin situations, you partially lose on coins and you partially lose on the dollar value, which means if the market moves up, you're winning double. If the market moves down, you're losing double. Again, to explain it once more, this XRP bot, I've just put dollars in that act as XRP. For example, $50,000 here, act as 50,000 XRP. So about a true leverage of 3x, let's call it. And if the XRP price goes up, well, we make dollars. As you can see right here, we put 50,000 in, we're up 60,000, right? So this is now worth 110K. Amazing. But where would it be different with a coin margin bot? The main difference would primarily be that we go, let's quickly show you here. If we take a look at the Cardano ADA bot, well, let's do the Solana bot. We put 6.5 SOL in, we're up 2.7 SOL. That's amazing, but that's 41%. If you look at dollars, it's up 70%. Why? Because we're partially up in SOL, but also each SOL that we had before and that we have now has become worth more. So the true profit is more. If we go down and look at XRP here, we're down 150 XRP, 0.6%. In dollar terms, we're down almost 3%. Why? Because whatever XRP we had has gone down in dollar terms, and the XRP that we're also driving into P&L, right? So it's double. You get it. Again, some people may call me crazy for it. I think I'll be criticized a lot for making these decisions, but the thing is, I'm just documenting my journey here on the channel every single day. There's another video I wanted to make with me saying, hey, I've been trying bots for the last couple of months. Here's how it's been going. Because truthfully, everything with regards to bots that I've been trying has done really, really well. For example, about yeah, let's say 600 days ago, right? We're closing in on 2 years ago. I put some dollars into some different bots here over on Bybit as well. On the short term, this was so stupid, people said. But now take a look at this. My $100, which is nothing, sure, but hey, it's just to prove a point. In the last about 600 days is up $670, right? The $100 I put in a little bit afterwards, like a little bit, 5 minutes afterwards, I did a different strategy, slightly different, is up about $500. $100 I put in a little bit afterwards again, like a few days with a little bit of a better strategy. As you can see right here, is up $820. And then I put $300 in like another few months afterwards, which is up $950. It's just to prove a point of saying the bots, if you insert them properly, they're some of the best passive income strategies that exist because ultimately they do what you could do manually as well. They buy that freaking dip and sell on slight increases. And the hardest part there being that people don't have the persistence to keep it up. They don't have the persistence to keep buying and keep selling. They just buy once or buy every week or buy every month and give up. But when you really start breaking it down and you take a look at the amount of transactions this is doing every single day, right? Every single day all the way down. If you were to do this manually, which again you could, you just have to place a lot of buy orders and some pretty in succession or perhaps conditional, a lot of sell orders, but it could work. But think about it with me here. Think about it with me. You could even, if you wanted to be even lower on the risk scale, lower the leverage down slightly, maybe at 3x, for example, put a very wide range, for example, from $1 in XRP to, more towards the current prices, maybe like $3.60, for example, a low amount of grid. So the gaps are really, really wide. And a lot of money is extra margin, meaning the actual investment is a lot lower than, relative to the portfolio size, just so you're always in a comfy spot, right? But then still, getting some XRP back on whatever you had is better than having nothing back on it, right? That's the way I'm thinking about it. So for me, I still want to remain humble in this conversation, but still, to me, 30,000 XRP is not that much. Let's say it differently. I'm still extremely grateful to have $100,000. I'm not freaking, I didn't lose touch with everything. I'm just saying that this 30,000 XRP for me, relative to my account size is not that crazy, meaning I can easily just let this run, hopefully generate me a couple thousand XRP in the process without really that much downside to it because I can always defend this position. And I realized for myself, why don't I do this more? Just deposit some Bitcoin, for example, and I did a little bit. I just put 0.2 Bitcoin inside of one. Here we go. You can see. But that's why I also deposited a little bit of Solana here. I deposited 550 Solana because I realized, well, why don't I just use more of the wallets that I've got doing nothing anyway to hopefully generate me something in the process? It doesn't have to be a lot, but this 550 Sol was generating me what? Like 7%, maybe 9% with LST a year, and I just literally sold some. This was just LST on one wallet. I still have different DeFi protocols that are still earning. Why? Because I also don't want to put all my eggs into one basket, right? I'm not comfortable with that yet, which I won't do. Take everything easy. Don't make hasty decisions. But basically, I had some LST here, just sold it off, got 550 Solana back, which I'm realizing now, if I just open up another bot, I only had 6.5 Sol in, which generated me 2.5 Sol, with Solana going from 188 to 220 now. If Solana just keeps this up, slowly but surely, as long as we don't go to zero, basically, it can generate me perhaps only a few tens of Solana, but still, it's significantly better than the 10% a year maximum that I would get anywhere else. So why not? I don't have to use the full balance if I wanted to stay a bit risk averse, right? Which again, I can always start off with. I can always change my strategies later. Because if I look at the CoinBot stack, again, if I look back at this Sol bot, 6.5 Sol in just the past 2 months, almost 3 back out. And I realize, even if I did only a very small portion of it, because it's 177% per year in this case here, or I look at ETH, for example, even here, it's been 43% a year. On staking ETH, I would get what, 3%? I'd only have to use 1/10 the balance, and it would still actually, funnily enough, be worth it. So that's why I put some Ethereum in here, only 8 ETH. But relatively, even if I had a total of only 80 ETH, if I put 10% inside, right? So I could always defend myself because the true leverage is, I think, 2x even, right? So I could, theoretically speaking, probably put like 3 or 4 tenths inside and still be pretty comfy. But by that logic, even if I put only 1/10 inside, because of the 44% a year, it still is extremely worth it because, the return otherwise is like 3.5, something like that percent. Anyway, I will quickly say again that we still have ourselves a nice little competition going on for the next few days, right? We've still got 3 days left. We're giving away $5,000 to people who are trying out bots. The reason I keep spamming you this, the fact there's a competition going on, is because it helps you out risk to reward wise. In the description down below, there's always some nice links, right? So sign up with this first link, second link to claim yourself a nice bonus, and the third link, for example, to join the competition, where you can see my bots and whatever with links down below. But the reason I'm saying it is because Think about it. If you just had a bot with $100 inside, it turns out it did really, really well, or just actually slightly well, you could actually end up in the top 10, for example. Maybe you do, right? Because there's only like 30-something people, 40 people that have entered, out of which only 4 have done bad. Everybody else has been pretty much winning it like crazy, right? Or doing at least some good numbers. But maybe you end up in the top 10. Some of these guys are really big community members. Love y'all for talking over in Discord. Maybe you end up in the top 10, win yourself at least $100. Could be worth it, right? Maybe you end up number 1 over the next few days. Who knows, right? And you actually take home 1,000. I wanted to increase it by a little bit, but I think I'll just perhaps add another competition, because what I wanted to do is get a good community of bot traders going here who can hopefully help me increase even my profitability and help me out with even better strategies, which is why I appreciate you guys hopping over on Discord, explaining your strategies, talking with one another. Don't share too sensitive of an information, but ultimately, as you can see, I almost dedicated my channel to it. Why? Because it's the best thing that I've ever found in my life when it comes to profit. It just makes so much sense. And again, the numbers don't have to be great for it to already make sense. I mean, I'm also not putting all my eggs into one basket. Oh, no. Oh, I just made an example of buying like a little bit of XRP. I wanted to buy significantly more. Let's buy another, this 300,000. Buy another 30,000 XRP, so another $100,000 we buy worth. Oh, that's sad. Oh, that's really, really sad. But here we go. So right now we get ourselves $120,000, about 40,000 XRP. I'll increase this to about 100 and something thousand XRP probably over the next few hours, depending on what the price does. Because basically what I was trying to say earlier in this video is I need to stack this up, right? Now I only effectively used 4,000 XRP, even though I've got 150,000 XRP to play around with. Of course, I will not use my full 150,000 XRP as balance right here. As you can see already, with the 150K XRP that I've got, because of all the other positions, well, I mean, I have enough in my account, but anyway, it would get wrecked at about 60 cents if I keep increasing this. Because of all the other positions, I'd eventually be in a tough spot. So I don't want to overdo it, but still I wanted to get at least about 100,000 XRP worth of value here, which still is $300,000. But if I wanted to, I could actually sell out the rest of the stash and just keep the rest as collateral in my account. But yeah. Some interesting times are going to be formed here because I am buying these coins like a madman. Some people might look at me and think I'm freaking stupid for doing all this, but I guess we'll see over the next few months. How can things go bad? If XRP actually goes to 0, I'm not going to be having a good time. But I'll counter you by saying, I had that XRP anyway. I have millions of dollars in XRP anyway. Might as well hopefully make it act as something more. And if I'm stupid, do let me know down below because I'm sharing every single part of my journey here. And if I make a mistake or something, or I do something dumb, at least everybody will see it and I can be publicly shamed so I can remember forever, right? That's also an important part of life, I guess. Yeah, that's about it for my thoughts on this video. Join the Discord, link is down below. If I'm doing something dumb, explain it to me, please. If I'm doing something smart, hey, explain here why. Hopefully we can make our strategies even better. That's about it.